Go back and do what you can. And if you'll do what you can, then life will give you some extraordinary things to do. We all pity the man, right? Wants to stride out of his house, go straighten out the corporation, has not yet straightened out his garage.
Puts their arm around you and says, hey kid, that dream, follow that, because I can tell you're going to do big things. No one says, hey, that business idea, you're going to thrive next year, I know it. That relationship, it's going to happen. That level of fitness, oh, I can see it already.
But damn, you work your tail off. And so he asked me if I'd come speak. One of the companies he took over was Century 21 Real Estate.
Like, no, I can't. They said, what do you mean you can't? I said, I can't move. It's a shock, neck to my toes. I can't feel anything. Shock leaves, it stays in my right arm and hand. I'm like, maybe I got a bad stinger.
Based on statistical information from the House of Commons, Karina Good earns a salary of 101,766 Canadian dollars as a cabinet minister. Breaking that down into daily earnings would see her earnings stand at over 302 Canadian dollars per day.
Nope. People see what's right in front of them. And as it pertains to you and your world, your life, people are those pigeons. And so that leaves you with a choice. Do you accept that? Do you blend in, take the scraps you're allowed to consume, the crumbs laid out in front of you? Or do you step back and acknowledge that this is going to be tough, this is going to hurt, it's going to push me further as a person than I've ever been pushed? But you know what I get in return? That view. I get to live above the clouds with those who don't wait in line.
And he said, why haven't you ever spoken for us? I said, because your company asked me over and over, but they're cheap. You know, they want to pay me $100,000 and my fee's $250,000. He goes, we'll pay the $250,000. I said, no, for you, I'll do it for free. Because he's a friend and I'm learning from him. So I came and did the speech, and afterwards he sat me back down and he goes, Tony, there are 10,000 people here. He says, I know like all my financial guys, they all look to you, but you're like a rock star from middle America. These people in gold jackets selling real estate. He goes, do you know how much our business increased in those 4 months? And I don't remember the exact number. It was like 22 or 23% or something. He goes, do you know how much money you made me? And you got nothing. He said, let me give you some advice. Go find people that have some form of momentum that you can turn it around and get a piece of that. And that's how I changed. So what I looked for were businesses that I felt tremendous emotional connection to because I felt they touched people's lives in some way.
No, they become the main attraction. They transform what is into what will be, because the world, it has a way of ensuring that we really want what we say we do. Greatness in any area of life is reserved for those willing to carry forward when most would turn back. To build a bridge to something greater when most people point out that your bridge is not connected to anything, that it's a waste of time, it's trivial, useless, irrational. Good. Changing your life in the world around you has to be irrational. Taking the status quo and shaking it, saying, I'm going to alter this landscape, is irrational. But from irrationality comes the future. So when you feel like the world is against you,
and I looked for partners that were geniuses, but where I could bring my own genius to it, where 1 + 1 = 5, or at least 3, not 2. And by doing that, I got pieces of these different companies, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew. So I'm in virtual reality. I have a company called NextVR. My partners are geniuses, and we just locked down the exclusive for the NBA. So instead of Monday Night Football, we have Tuesday Night NBA, and you literally, it's like you're on the court, you can look and feels like you can reach out and touch LeBron. It's mind-boggling, and there's no cords or computer. It's all done off your phone with an app. It's mind-boggling.
Wow.
We also have the exclusive for Live Nation for all concerts. So you can be right there next to Jay-Z or Beyonce, like you feel like you can touch them, right? I have a company that's #1 guy in stem cells in the world. I have a company that does genetics, that's just genius. I've got companies that are in the education space. I bought Adweek with a group of partners. I have my financial companies. So the diversity I have is mind-boggling, but that's also the secret to investing.
Don't you be vengeful just because they're vengeful. Don't lose yourself in your situation. Don't let your situation eat up yourself. Learn to be your own booster. When I started trying to convince myself I can be a businessman, after flopping and failing and losing thousands of dollars, and feeling stupid and dumb and having people take advantage of me, Because of what I didn't know, I had to talk to myself. Because people were saying to me that I was dumb. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I was saying, you're right, look at what I've done. I had to say no, 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 no less. Hey, come on, man. Get yourself together.
They put me on the spine board, wheeling me off the field. Doctor says to me as he's walking beside me, I don't know how you're still alive, son. You don't have any pulse. We get to the ambulance. My father's standing there. I'm like, Pops, I laid it on him, right? I put it on him, right? My dad's like, yeah, but I think you got the worst part of this for me. Doctor said, we're going to take you over, run a couple tests, bring you back into the room. Everything will be cool. They run the test. They bring me back into the room. Mom comes in, kisses, prays. Son, you'll be fine. She's going to walk out. Doctors rush in. Head boy says, hey, man, got to rush him back to surgery. He's about to die. And I look at him and I want to ask him, like, man, you can't use another word? Like, use a synonym, brother. You gotta say die. Like, you sure died, man? And he could tell from how I'm looking at him that I'm questioning.
He said, go back again. So I went back again. I said, how you doing, Mr. Butterball? My name is Les Brown. He said, I know what your name is. What do you want? I said, I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs at disc jockey, sir. He said, didn't I just tell you yesterday we didn't have any jobs? I said, yes, sir, but I know whether or not somebody got laid off or somebody was fired, sir. He said, no one was laid off or fired. Now get on out of here. I came back the next day like I was seeing him for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you? He looked at me with rage. He said, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. And I went to get him some coffee. After a while, I would give their lunch and dinner, and I would go in the control rooms and take the disc jockeys their food, and I would not leave until they would ask me to leave. One Saturday afternoon, while I was at the radio station, a guy named Rock was drinking while he was on the air. I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room windows.
Yes, the struggle continues. There are people right now that don't have jobs to go to. Families are being disrupted. People are going through so many different changes in their lives right now, but nevertheless, we must continue to carry on. The pain is real, the struggle is real. And so many people have given up on themselves. They have allowed things around them to put them in a position where they have no hope, but I'm here to let you know right now, you got to keep on holding on to hope.
And he says to me, you ruptured a subclavian artery in your chest, you're bleeding internally. If we don't perform this surgery tonight, I guarantee you won't be here no more. 7 years old, 20 years old, boiled down to one moment. The sacrifice, the dedication, the commitment came down to one moment. And the next morning I woke up from that surgery. The NFL on my scale of life, SEC championship, cornerback, I was embarrassed. I'm sitting there and people coming into my room like, Inky, man, I'm sorry about what happened to you.
Disconnect yourself from hopelessness. You got to keep holding on to faith now. I speak about faith often because sometimes that's all you need. Yes, the struggle is real, but I'm here to let you know if you're struggling right now, you can go a little bit further. That struggle that you're dealing with right now is only going to build you up, sure you. May feel like you're alone, sure, you may feel torn down, but I assure you, you will get up again. There will come a time that things are going to get just a little bit better, but right now, we're all being tested.
Walking back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. Pretty soon the phone rang and it was the general manager. And I answered the phone. I said, hello? He said, Les, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. I said, I know. He said, would you call one of the other DJs in? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must think I'm crazy. I called my mom and my girlfriend, Cassandra. I said, y'all turn up the radio and come out on the front porch. I'm about to come on the air. I waited for about 20 minutes. And I called him back. I said, Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody. He said, young boy, do you know how to work the controls? I said, yes, sir. He said, go in there and don't say nothing here. I said, yes, sir. I couldn't wait to get behind those controls. I put on an old Stevie Wonder record called Fingertips. God wants you to help people. He wants me to help people, but we can't let other people's expectations control us. At the start of the day, you need to make a decision that no matter what comes against you, you're not going to get upset. No matter what someone says, you're not going to be offended. No matter what delays, disappointments, bad breaks, you're not going to be sour on the other side of some unanswered prayers because you don't think I asked God to heal my dad. You don't think I asked him for a miracle and sat by his bed and watched him breathe his last breath.